Okay, so last week you collected your course transfer documents. So by now you should have your curriculum flowchart from Beaufort's webpage and your BDP or your program check sheet, depending on where you're planning to transfer. If you're planning to transfer to a four-year university, you'll have your baccalaureate or degree plan. And if you're planning to transfer to another community college, you should have the program check sheet. Now, as we are moving forward with our course plans, registering for classes, I want you to remember that as you plan for your short-term goal, you need to keep your long-term goal in mind. So moving forward, whenever you're registering for classes, whenever you're working on developing your course plan, you should have both of these documents in hand. So let's take a closer look at these documents. If we're going to be working with them, we kind of need to know how they're organized and the terms that they use. We need to make sure we understand what they are. So you'll see that on your curriculum flow chart, the classes are divided into categories. Some of them are very self-explanatory, like your English, your math, your natural sciences. Those are the typical sciences that we think of, like biology and chemistry. Humanities, communications, and fine arts. I like to think of this category as your cultural classes, like your music, your arts, your literature classes, your philosophy classes. And you can see the pick list here for the associate in science degree. The social behavioral sciences, I like to think of that category as classes where you're studying society or the behaviors of society. And so those would be classes like your histories, your political science, psychology, sociology. You can see the pick list here for the associate in science degree. You'll also see that there are two other categories, additional general education hours that are required and your other required hours. This is going to be your general ed, UGETC, and pre-major elective classes. We're going to go into more detail into those categories in just a few minutes. But I want to show you that depending on the degree that you are planning to earn, the requirements are different. So for instance, in the associate in arts and the associate in science, you can see that they both require 6 hours of English, but the requirements for the humanities, communication, and fine arts is different. You see for the associate in arts, it's 9 hours versus 6 hours. Your social behavioral sciences is 9 hours versus 6. The math is 3 to 4 hours versus 8. Natural sciences 4 versus 8. And then the additional, there's not that much difference with your additional general ed or your electives. The main differences between the associate in arts and associate in science is going to be your maths and your sciences. So now let's dive into the course types. You're going to see, and I'm using associate in arts as an example, but these apply to either degree. There are 3 different types of courses: the UGETC, the general education, and pre-major. And you'll see as you look through, some are specified. So here it tells you which English to take. It tells you that you need to choose a communications, humanities, fine arts course, a social, but then it'll say an elective. And then they're going to say you can either choose a general ed or a UGETC or a pre-major course. So what do those terms mean? UGETC is just an acronym for Universal General Education Transfer Component. And that's just a fancy way for this saying that this is a universal course. It is guaranteed to transfer and be applied to your senior institution. That means your four-year college or university. It's guaranteed to transfer and be applied to the senior institution's lower division general education course requirements, even if you don't complete your associate degree. That's really important. Now, there are requirements. You must get a C That's an easy way to remember UGETC. You must get a C for it to transfer. But this, I would consider, whenever you're making choices about which course to take, if you have the option to take a UGETC course, it's going to be your safest bet because you know it's going to transfer. Your Gen Ed and your pre-major courses, just like the UGETC, you must earn a C for it to transfer. And these are also guaranteed to transfer, but if you don't earn your associate degree, if you're just taking a class and then you're hoping that it will transfer to your senior institution, if you don't earn your associate degree, then the senior institution can decide whether it's going to apply to your general ed requirements or your elective credits. So there's a little wiggle room there, but again, you do have to make a C for it to transfer, and it will transfer, but the senior institution kind of gets to decide how to apply that credit if you don't earn your associate degree. Now there are also prerequisites. So when you are registering for classes, you need to make sure that there are no prerequisites, and if there are prerequisites, you just need to make sure that you have successfully completed that class before enrolling in the higher level course. So I'm going to, let's get out of here for just a second. I'm going to show you how to use the course catalog to check to see whether a course has prerequisites or not. So for instance, if you were interested in taking English 231, which is American Lit, give me just a second, and I will bring up there we go. Alright, so what we can do is we can go from Beaufort's website, we can go to the class schedule, and then on the class schedule, you can go to catalog, and then all courses. So for instance, if we were interested in trying to see if English 231 has any prerequisites, we could search the catalog for English 231, and we see here that English 231 does in fact have prerequisites. You have to take one of these courses, either English 112, English 113, or English 114. That doesn't mean you have to take them all. It just means you have to have successfully completed, meaning you passed either 112, 113, or 114. Let's see, what about bio? Let's say we want to take bio 169. I can't take bio 169 because it says there's a prerequisite here. I have to take and pass bio 168 first. What if you wanted to take music 112? There are no prerequisites. It's not, in this case, I don't have to take music 111 before I can take music 112. I can just go directly into taking music 112 and learn all about jazz. Okay? So that's how to use the course catalog to check for prerequisites. You're going to want to do this when you're registering for classes. Otherwise, if you're using WebAdvisor or if you're working with your advisor, there's some classes you won't be able to take. So you need to make sure that you're looking ahead. So there are other types of courses as well. They're called co-requisites. So a co-requisite is a course that you have to take at the same time you're taking another course. So let me show you how you would know that. I'm going to go back to class schedule, and for instance, I'm going to go to spring 2020 just for example, and I'm going to go to the class schedule, and I'm going to look up. They're all in alphabetical order, so they're easy to find. So I'm going to go to English, and these are the courses. When you go to the class schedule, this is what Beaufort is offering this semester. It gives you how many seats are remaining. It gives you the course name, how many hours it is. It gives you the course meeting dates and times and the instructor. So you can see here that English 111, if your advisor tells you that you need to take a co-rec, you can see that English 111, the co-rec for English 111 is English 011. So if you're taking section 1, English 111 section 1, and your advisor says you need to take a co-rec with that, and the co-rec is just for English, is just a supporting class. So you would also register for the English 011, 01R. And you can see here there's a little note. There, a lot of our maths work the same way. You can see that if you are registered for Math 171, but based on either your high school GPA, and there's other criteria, if your advisor says you need to take a co-rec or a support class with your math, with the regular curriculum course, then you would just sign up for Math 071, 01R. So again, that is going back to, I'm going to get rid of that, to our home page, and you access that information by going to class schedule, and and this gives you a list of every class that we're offering per semester and all the information about that class. Okay. Alright, so let me minimize this. Give me just a second. We'll minimize that, and we're going to bring our sorry, let me get back to the slide we were on. Okay, so the next couple of weeks you're actually going to be working on creating your course plan, and like I said before, we want to make sure that we're planning our short-term goal with our long-term goal in mind. So you're going to be hearing me give examples like this over and over again, but I can't stress this enough, that as you're planning your courses that you're taking at Beaufort, for instance, if my program of study is Associate in Arts, and this is my curriculum flow chart, and I see that Math 171 is typically recommended, but I see down here at the bottom that actually there are 3 maths that I could choose from to fulfill my math requirements for Associate in Arts. I could either take Math 143, Math 152, or Math 171. If I'm not thinking ahead and looking long term, I could easily just choose either of those, even though it says it's typically 171, that's what's recommended. You have a choice. You can choose one of these 3. Which one do you choose? Well, the best way to choose your course for your short-term goal is to look at your long-term goal. So for instance, if I were to, if my long-term goal is to transfer to East Carolina for a Bachelor in Science for elementary education, I would look to see what the requirements are for that bachelor's degree. And I can see here that ECU requires Math 1065, and the equivalent course to that in the community college is Math 171. So the smartest choice for me is to, although I have choices here, I could take Math 143, 152, or 171. If I'm planning my short-term goal with my long-term goal in mind, I would absolutely choose Math 171 because it fulfills the requirement to earn my Associate in Arts, and it fulfills the requirement for my Bachelor's in Science at ECU. That's it for now. We're going to be using these documents, and I'm going to be walking you through the course planning process, over the next couple of weeks. But I hope that just provides a little background information. If we're going to be using these documents, you really need to know what all these terms mean. If you have any questions this week, please don't hesitate to call. Have a great week, everybody.